Hey guys, and welcome back to the shop. It's cold in here today. So we're going to take a look at what you have to do to put a Athena 144 kit on your YZ144 bottom end. We're going to go step by step. It's pretty straightforward. Now, if you've been watching my series, the first and most important step is something I should have done 5 videos ago while I had the cases split. But I didn't do it, my fault, didn't pay close enough attention to the instructions, overlooked it. This, I think, is an accurate representation of what most people are going to do, because if your bottom end is in good shape, you're not going to split the cases, replace all the bearings in the crank like I did. So let's take a look at what you've got to do when you've got a bottom end in good shape. You want that extra 20 cc's of 144 Athena kit. Let's take a look. All right, so here's my issue that I should have done while I had the cases apart. The instructions tell you that you've got to mill 1.5 millimeters off the case, and then they show this 60 millimeter thing. This is not the easiest thing to follow, but the bottom line is stock piston at bottom dead center has got plenty of room to move around in here. The new Athena piston, which is significantly larger, does not. And if you take a look, this portion of the case right here has to be cut down. They say 1.5 millimeters. You can go further than that. The bottom line is, with or without that 144 kit, this is going to work. So now we're in the situation where we've got to cut this back 1.5 millimeters to have better clearance for that new piston and to make sure that everything works the way that it's supposed to. So how are we going to do that? With my brand new crank and my brand new bearings, we've got to make sure that we seal this up well enough that we can go in there with a Dremel and mill it down. Now I'm going to put the cylinder on the top, mark this so I have a pretty good idea what's going on. I'll show you that, and then we'll figure out how are we going to cut this and not get shavings into the bottom end. All right, so here we are with the cylinder head sitting on the engine for the time being, and if you take a look down the bore, you can see that little area, sorry about this, hard to film, this little area where it sticks out just the tiniest bit. Now, I was going to try to mark that. I don't see the point. We're just going to shave that down. It says 1.5 millimeters. You can go further than that until the piston will slide past there with no obstruction. And the hardest part in doing that, again, is to seal off that bottom end to make sure you don't get any shavings down into the engine. So let's take a look at doing that. All right, so for this part, we're going to get into some high-tech tools. Not everybody's going to have these tools. You need a rubber band, and we're going to use the rubber band to just keep the connecting rod out of the way while we do this. Very high tech. We're going to use some index cards. We're going to use a little bit of aluminum foil. We might use some duct tape, and then we're going to use a little bit of Play-Doh. And if any of you are even close to my age and you played with this stuff when you were a kid, it still smells the same. So I think step one is I'm going to take a business, not a business card, but an index card, and I'm going to get it to the point where it'll fit tightly between the crank and the cylinder. Because we don't want anything going down in there. All right. That right there is actually not too bad. And then I'm going to take some aluminum foil, and I'm going to try to cover up the rest of this. And I'm going to duct tape a little bit, and then I'm going to use a little bit of Play-Doh jam down in here to prevent any filings from going down in there. And then I think the key to this is going to be to make sure that while I am grinding this down, that I have a vacuum cleaner running and picking up the chips as we go. So let me take a shot at this and we'll come back. All right, so jumping ahead a little bit here because my microphone keeps falling off. And when my microphone falls off, the heater makes so much noise you can't hear me talk. So I have a couple of bad videos, but the bottom line is duct tape around the edges. I did not use the aluminum foil. The duct tape is only connected to the paper, so there's no adhesives touching my crank. I've got the Play-Doh sealing everything else off, especially the area there. And now we're gonna mill this down. And what's important is you don't have to mill it all the way to the bottom, although we'll check clearance when we're done. Basically, to the bottom, this little the gap there, we're gonna imagine a straight line across, and that's the area that we're gonna mill out. So we're gonna do that using my old trusty Dremel 3000, which I've rebuilt twice over its life. We're going to use a couple of high-speed cutting bits, probably just one, and we're going to mill that down. So let's get a vacuum and maybe one of my kids to help and get going. All right, so here I've got my son Dan in charge of the vacuum while I'm using the Dremel with that high-speed bit to cut that area down. And I can tell you, this goes very quickly. And I can also tell you that although that Play-Doh does a really good job of having the fragments stick to it, when you don't have the vacuum running, they really pile up very quickly. So I found, you'll see there's an area here where I do a little bit without the vacuum in the space. That's no good. Everything else I did going forward, I have the vacuum close by. You don't end up with half as many shavings. So good to know. Just be careful when you do this yourself, and you'll end up with a nicely done job. All right, so after doing all of that, here's the shaved off part. And now we're going to carefully take this thing back apart, make sure we don't get any of the shavings down in the case, and then check the clearance. All right, so here we are for my initial checks. I put the cylinder on, I've got the piston in there. One thing I noticed is the piston pin that came with the kit is so tight I can't even get it in. Not sure why. I have the old one in there for a minute. Don't have a ring on, but just making sure now very carefully that the piston will go its entire stroke with no obstructions. And it does. So now what I want to do is leave it at bottom dead center, take the cylinder off, take a look, and see what we can see. And yeah, I can't really see anything. So I'm going to take a couple of measurements and just make sure this is okay. All right, so I did some poking around and I put the piston on and I moved it up and down in its stroke and it seemed to be fine, but then when I take the cylinder off and I put the piston at bottom dead center, you see that little black mark there? That's as far down as that skirt goes. So the bottom line is, to be comfortable here, I've got to take more material off of there. So I am going to very carefully get set up again and just take some more off. All right, so as I prepare to go back in a second time and take off a little bit more material and then clean that up, I'm going to state you cannot go overboard masking this thing up. Those little filings, even with the vacuum going the whole time, get all over the place. And I had to spend a lot of time before I cleaned it up the first time, just cleaning up the outside of the engine so that when I did undo this part, nothing got in there. So just be really, really careful. All right, here we are for the last time. Got the vacuum in one hand, the tool in the other. In my case, once I got the hang of the way that bit cut, it was really easy to do it one-handed, keeping the vacuum close by. A little tip I picked up, and you'll see me doing this here, is to use a Q-tip cotton swab with a little bit of bearing grease on the end of it. You can pick up some of those stray fragments that the vacuum misses and that don't get stuck in the Play-Doh. It just makes it that much easier to take your time, go slowly, and be really careful not to drop any of that stuff anywhere where it's going to fall down in the crankcase once you take things apart. I was really careful and mine came out very, very well. All right, so after carefully shaving those last areas down as much as I possibly could and cleaning it up a little bit, now I've got plenty of room. I double-checked, triple-checked with the piston on there, and I've got more than enough clearance. Now, I would highly recommend, if you're doing what I did, which is rebuilding this entire bottom end, do this while you have the cases apart. And if you're just putting the top on and you're very comfortable with the condition of your bottom end, your crank, your bearings, and your seals, then you can do what I did. You could do it in the bike. You just got to be really, really careful and make sure you don't get any shavings down in the engine. When I was done, I took a magnetic pickup tool and I ran it down on the inside and made sure I didn't come up with any shavings. I didn't, so I think we're good to go here. All right, so as I'm getting ready to put my top end together, I wanted to show you guys something. So here's my Athena cylinder, which I am not at all happy with. When I say I'm not at all happy with it, the power valves, when I got it, wouldn't even go in. In fact, you see me just drop this one in, right? Push down on it a little bit. Very difficult to get back out. In fact, when I first put it together, I dropped it in here. I put a couple of screws in just to see, and these wouldn't even move up and down. So I've spent the last couple of hours very carefully cleaning out the inside. In fact, I still have a little bit to do because while this one is not too bad, as you can see, this one still, I mean, look at that. It still sticks. Sticking is no good, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time cleaning that up. You know, you don't like to have to fool around with a brand new cylinder this much, but hey, I guess it's what I got to do. All right, so here's the question. With the power valve in there, take a look at it. You can see it's not all the way down. When I say all the way down, here's one, you know, all the way down. I'm expecting that this should be something along this position. So it looks like I got a little bit to go. And when you start pushing down on that, it starts to get tight, which is what's bothering me. Now, I've got my digital camera down there. And looking at it now, as we move the power valve up and down, right, the bottom of that slot is just a little bit tight. Right, kind of hard to see. There we go. Hard to move the thing and hold the camera at the same time. Right, so it almost looks like that's where it's supposed to stop, because there's a little ridge there. I think we're probably okay, at least on this side. I don't think, based on the way that, you see that little ledge, the way that that's machined, I think that's about as far as we're supposed to go. So I'm guessing now that that installation is correct. We'll find out. All right, so after all of that, this side is still tight. See how much effort that takes to get out of there? It's just not right. This side is now better, right? And it goes down like I showed you before. I'm happy with that. This side needs more. Now the problem is, how do you clean out these little ridges? You know, your typical Dremel bit will only go so deep. I've been using these little Dremel sanding wheels here. Let's get that in the camera. But they don't go deep enough. But what you can do is remove the bit that holds it, put the rubber piece on the end of a drill bit, and then you've got enough room to go in there carefully and clean things up. So I'm going to give that a shot. Let's see how it goes. All right, so after just a little bit of cleanup with my homemade Dremel extension on the side, this guy now drops in exactly the way it's supposed to. and it doesn't stick. So if you've got to do this yourself, be really careful. And it's important to check these. I mean, if I had put them in, I'm going to clean up the other side a little bit too, because this side is now not as good as this side. If I had just put this in, bolted it together, and not checked, it would never work, and the engine would have more than likely run like crap or blown up. Hey guys, this one kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Everybody knows to put paper towel or something on any opening when you're putting in that piston pin, the throw clips, to make sure you don't lose them down the engine. I blocked off the water passages too. Don't forget to take this back out again. And I say that because not once, but a couple of times I have been to the track with guys with their newly rebuilt top end where all of a sudden the bike won't run. Sure enough, you pull off the exhaust pipe and you still got tissues in there. So make sure you clean up before you put the cylinder head on. Hey guys, one more in the category of things you don't think you're gonna have to do. This cylinder gasket was really, really tight. The holes just barely fit over the studs. I had to very carefully, by hand, use my step bit to just slightly open up those holes so that I could get this on here. And of course, you don't go this far without topping this off with new washers, new nuts on the new studs. We also, if you remember, I replaced the studs here. I have new nuts there. Just makes for a better install and better serviceability going forward. All right, so here's a pretty good place to be. Engine back in the frame. So now I'm going to torque the base bolts. I'm going to torque the head bolts. I didn't put on this cover. I'm hoping that I can get that on while the engine is in the frame. Obviously, I didn't put on this cover because I also have to check that. I've also got to check the squish and make sure that that is okay. And a little tip, I use cardboard rolls, paper towels, toilet paper, cut them up, put them over your frame. That way you don't scratch it when you put things back together. It works out really well. Hey, here we are, engine back in the frame, everything torqued down. Cool tip for you YZ guys. When you're doing the cylinder nuts, it's hard to torque them unless you have one of these little torque wrench adapters. This one's from Motion Pro. And using this makes it easy to get the right value. However, you got to do a little math in order to figure it out. So those bottom bolts are supposed to be 22 foot-pounds. In order to figure out the right thing, you need to know this distance from here to here, which is 3 inches on the Motion Pro wrench. Then the distance from here to the middle of the handle, which is 14. You add the two of those together, and then you multiply the number of foot-pounds you want by that number. So for me, and I got to check my cheat sheet here, right? That was 22. Actually, 22 by this length is 22 times 14 is 308. And then you divide that by this total length, which is 17. So that gave me a little bit more than 18 foot-pounds. So I went to about 18 and a half. When you buy that little wrench, it comes with little instructions, so you don't have to remember what I just said. And hey guys, so ends another episode. So what do we got left to do? Well, you know, a bunch of little things, but bottom line is I still got to rebuild the swing arm, put that back on. We're going to replace all the bearings on that, including all the linkage. We're going to rebuild the rear shock. Forks are already done because I did that the first time around. Put that back together, and you know, it won't be long before we're firing this thing up. So until then, I'm hoping you're enjoying this content. If you are, do me a favor, give me a like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.